Today we're going to dive into the rear axle of our race truck. Then we take this GMC Sierra from our work truck to a custom creation. Wow, that's a blue chassis you got there, Matt.
You know what it is? It's vivid, man. This thing pops. It's beautiful. I love it.
You know, kind of matches your eyes a little bit.
Thanks, I think. Welcome to TruckU. I'm Matt Steele.
Hi, I'm Bruno Massel.
This is the return of our little project race truck. Now, let's rewind a little bit and go back in time, right? This thing came in. It was all banged up, beat up, didn't look all that good, but maybe a little bit of a diamond in the rough. We started pulling everything off, and really, we've given it a radical facelift now with this blue paint on the chassis, and I'm real happy with it. I think this is going to look nice. Now, here's the deal. We took a lot of stuff off. I mean, we took everything off, and it's all piled up basically in the corner. So what we need to do now is take a look at everything and figure out what we need to throw out and what we can reuse.
Exactly. So that's why we're going to work our way over here to the table and check out this rear end we've got. Now, this is a Ford 9-inch rear end. It's kind of like the norm in the world of racing, but this is a full floater assembly, and what we're talking about is, believe it or not, the axles float inside this housing. Let me show you what I'm talking about. There's a little cap that keeps it in place. You pull it off, and with a screw here, you can pull out the entire axle, just like that.
Now, some of your standard axles, as a kind of a difference to this, you'll have the flange at the end of the axle, and it's all one piece, and that's what the tire is going to bolt onto, and that puts a lot of stress and a lot of strain right there on the corner, and that can lead to a couple different issues.
Yeah, in the world of racing, you're going to put a lot of stress on the axles because you're putting a lot of power to the ground, and where it's going to break is going to be out here where the stress is really put. So what happens is you break the axle, well, you're going to shear the wheel and tire off, and that can get ugly quick.
As a spectator, it might be a little bit entertaining, but if you're behind the wheel and you're the one in control or getting out of control, it's not so great, right?
Yeah, and the advantage with a floating axle like this is the fact that if you break the axle, it'll shear off and it'll stay inside of this housing. Now, obviously, you lose power to that back side, but the advantage is you've got all four wheels still on the vehicle.
Also, another advantage, when it comes to competition and something breaking, it's a big advantage. The quicker you can get it fixed and get back out there, that's the name of the game, right? You live it every day. So with this axle being in there and being a floating axle, as long as the breakage isn't too far in here in the middle and you can get all the chunks and pieces out there, you can slide your new shaft in and you're back on the track, you're back in the ball game, and maybe back in the money.
Now, there's also an advantage in terms of performance with a floating axle like this, because traditional style, you're going to put a lot of a side load on this bearing here with everything rides on. With the floater, you don't have that. So if you take away drag, this thing's going to be quicker because it'll be more efficient. Now, we're talking about hundredths of a second.
Right.
Tenths of a second is what the world of racing is all about. Every advantage you can get, you want to be able to keep, because a couple hundreds here and a couple hundreds there, they all add up. And now, before you know it, you've got yourself a winning vehicle. Out on the street, you'd never know the difference, but in the world of racing, you know it right away.
Okay, good point. Now we need to get into the guts here and actually see how good this is. So let's get this cover off. You got any predictions?
I got a feeling it's going to be pretty good.
It should be. You know, we're on a good streak, right?
You notice when we pulled out the third member, you didn't see a lot of oil dripping down everywhere. We're expecting to see gear oil everywhere, and this stuff is really tacky. I mean, it's pretty much staying in place.
Yeah, it's actually sticking to the gears, and it's sticking on everything in here, even on the inside of the housing right there. You can literally wipe it off the side. I think if we came back here in 5 or 6 hours, that drip pan would still look like that, too. This stuff's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I've seen something like this before used in gearboxes in the world of drag racing, where it actually clings to the gears themselves and helps protect them. I mean, its stuff literally doesn't sling off at high RPMs, and that looks like what it's done here. It's done a pretty good job of protecting this gear. If we spin it a little bit, you can see that there's no chatter marks on any of the teeth. They all look to be in pretty good shape, so we might be getting pretty lucky with this thing.
I'm telling you, we need to get this stuff out of the way so we can clean this up and get a better look at it. But we're almost, what are we 2 for 2 here today?
Yeah, not bad.
This is
good.
It's
better than normal.
I'm zooming down the track, man. I'm flying. Hey, Bruno, nice job on the cleanup. I'm going to give the kid an A+ for that. You did well.
It's about time he gives me credit here. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we're going to give you guys a quick 10-cent tour of this rear gear of the truck. Now, I'm going to warn you guys, it might look pretty simple, But if you had no experience in setting one of these up before, don't bother to take it apart any farther than this, because believe it or not, it is pretty complicated. The whole idea is getting the right clearances set up so that you don't eat up that rear gear. And for every application, it's going to be a little bit different. So we'll give you a quick 10-cent tour how this thing works.
Now, it is pretty cool to strip everything away, like the housing and all that, to really get up in here and see how it all works. But like you said, don't be deceived. You know, it looks pretty simple, but there is more than meets the eye. Now, one very important thing when you're taking this thing apart, you want to make sure that you put it back together again the same way that it was. Now, they've had this thing apart before, and we know that because they've already punched right up here on the top. You can see they punched one dot in there and right there, and they did a 2 over here. That way, these bearing caps go right back where they belong.
Yeah, this has been line bored before, so it's clearance for either side. So it's a precision fit, so you want to make sure you get that back the right way. Now, what we need to do, the first thing to do to take off is get these little retainers out of the way. Hold on a second here. That's one. And the same thing on the other side. And then we've got a little tool we're going to use to take off these little caps here. Now what they do is they put a little bit of preload on the bearing. So what we're going to do is try and get these off, then get our bearing caps off to take a look at the bearing, because the gear looks good, but we want to make sure the bearing it's riding on is in good shape as well.
Yeah, we've got it all apart. We might as well check it all out, right?
Hey Matt, it's looking pretty good, man.
So far, so good. Welcome back to TruckU. Today we're working on our project race truck. We've got the rear end out, all taken apart, cleaned up. That way we can get into the guts of it all and take a look at it and see if there's any surprises. So far, everything's going great. Doesn't look to be in too bad a shape. Actually, some of it's looking brand new. I don't even know if he's tested it out yet. But here's the deal. We talked earlier about the popularity of the Ford 9-inch and why it is so widely used in racing applications. A lot of that has to do with this. This Pilot slides right down into that third bearing right there, and that gives it a lot more support. And that's why guys are using it.
Yeah, you know, in other types of rear ends, what you've got is you've got the inner bearing and you got the outer bearing. Now, they're a little bit farther apart. I'll give it that to give it a little more balance, but regardless, you've got the pinion out on the end here floating free. When you put this back in here like this in the 9-inch, like that,
Get in there, sweetie.
It's supported on either end. So it's supported on either end. It can't side load and you won't break that pinion off. That's why this is so popular in the world of racing, and for good reason.
Yeah, that's where all the strength is. So that way, like you said, it's not going to be flying around. No unexpected surprises, hopefully.
Now we've got a trick we want to show you guys on how to go ahead and push these bearings back in. If you don't have a press, we've got a way that do a little cooking, get this thing fired up and get them in.
Cooking?
Cooking. All right, so we're at a point right now we want to start reassembling our rear gear. Now the first thing we need to do is go ahead and press our bearing onto our spool. Well, traditionally that's what you do because it's a press-on fit, so the clearances are really tight. That's the only way you're going to get it on. Well, we've got another way I think actually to get it on. If you remember back to science class, if you heat up a metal, it should expand, right?
Right.
So if we can get it to expand enough, we should be able to drop it right on our spool and boom, we're good to go.
So that's where the grill comes in. I like this idea.
Like
if it works,
I think it's crazy enough
I'm
to
gonna
work.
like it even more. You ready? Let's see what happens. Come on, baby. That's pretty hot.
Haha, man, how do you like that?
That is nice. Now, we've got to give it some time and actually let it cool on and stick on there. And we have got a hot grill, my friend. So I am always thinking of you, dude. Look at this. We'll cook up some lunch.
Didn't.
Yes, I did. Now take a look at that. Safety first. All right, we'll give these a minute.
That is wrong for so many reasons, you know that.
How well do you want yours done? This one looks good right here, man.
Oh my God.
That's a good hot dog right there, brother.
I told you the science project would work.
It was beautiful, man.
You know, I'd like to keep on going and finish setting this thing all up, but you know what? We told you from the beginning we're going to give you a 10-cent tour because it takes a little bit of time, a little bit of effort to make sure that you have it set up right. If you don't have the right clearances, you're not going to have the proper functioning rear end, and you're going to tear up this rear gear. So we don't want that to happen because we've got to actually now spend a little time on some other people's stuff.
Yeah, the time for us to work on our own toys is done, and we've actually got to get back to work. So we'll put this aside and pick this up here again pretty soon. So I am going to finish lunch, though. I'm telling you,
You're
you don't
burn
want
your tongue.
Food?
You know, that's all you, man. That doesn't look right to
I've
me
lost
at
all feeling in these fingers.
Is there anything I can do to help the turbocharger from coking up with deposits? We'll have the answer after the break. Is there anything I can do to help the turbocharger from coking up with deposits? Turbochargers develop deposits from no oil flow cooling the parts after the engine is turned off. Z-Max's ability to soak into the metal keeps the surfaces lubricated and cooler, which helps to prevent damaging deposits from forming. Using Z-Max in your oil system will keep turbochargers better lubricated and running cooler. This tip is brought to you by Z-Max. Performance you can feel.
Welcome back to TruckU. Right now we're dolling up our Sierra HD with some chrome accessories that we got from Coast to Coast International. Now we've already put on the mirror covers and the door handle covers. Those went on nice and easy and they look fantastic.
And they do, and really this whole truck looks good. The one thing I keep asking myself is, why would they send out this truck with this nasty looking front grille? It just has no life to it. But Coast to Coast has got an easy, quick fix for that, and that's this custom grille overlay. Now what it does is it clips into place with just your hands, no tools required, and takes a matter of about 4 to 5 seconds. So let's see how this turns out. There we go, and that's it, man. Just that simple. You gotta love it.
You know, to be honest, I think it's actually going to take us longer to get the fingerprints off of this than it did for you to install it, no doubt.
Hey, don't be getting any ideas. This is a product exclusive to Coast to Coast. It is patented, so lay off, buddy.
Hey, this is made of durable ABS construction, and also keep in mind, all these pieces with the chrome finish have got a lifetime warranty.
If you want to get yourself one of these quick fit overlays or any of these cool custom chrome accessories, reach out to the folks at Coast to Coast International and they'll hook you up with one of their distributors.
Yeah, they look great and they're ridiculously easy to do.
That looks good.
Yeah, it's in there good enough for now.
Okay.
Now here's another little piece that we found to dress up our Sierra out here this afternoon. And these are gonna look nice. You know, we did a little bit of homework on the internet, we did a little searching, and we found these things real cheap. They actually came off of another GM truck, and that guy was getting rid of them, changing out his step bars, and we thought, man, we can pick these things up for next to nothing and hook them right up. And since it came off another GMC, boom, they just bolt right on. Nice
Yeah,
and
it's
easy.
that whole theme we're trying to do is maintain that OEM type look, but keep it a little bit better than OEM. I mean, no one likes to be driving around the same thing that you see out in the street. You want to have something a little bit different, kind of make yours stand out a little bit. We've done some nice, simple things that have really made this truck stand out, and these step bars here are a nice addition to it because you know what? We haven't spent a lot of money, and that's big these days because, you know, quite frankly, no one has any extra money to throw around. So if you're a little smart and you spend some time on the internet, you can save yourself a huge amount of money.
Now this is good. These look nice, and that'll be nice. Now you talk about another nice addition, and it's going to be right here with these Hercules TerraTrack all-terrain tires. These are actually nice. You know, the interesting thing is about a tire like this with the all-terrain, it's actually going to perform best under the worst conditions. Another cool thing is they've got them for 15 to 20-inch rims, and they're good for all your light trucks and SUVs.
Hey, I think these tires would be a great addition to this truck. Why don't I take them and get mounted up, and you can actually get some work done.
Oh, so I'll finish your job there?
It'd be nice for a change.
Hey, you forgot something. There you go. All right, so Bruno will take care of the tires. Tires are going to be a nice addition to this vehicle. Now think about this, if you're going to improve the tires right there, another thing you can do is improve the wheels on there and try to fix up maybe an old wheel. And if you want some good ideas for that, we've got that coming up right now. Anytime you're doing anything to improve the looks of your vehicle, you're involved in a restoration challenge. My restoration challenge today is this wheel and caliper. We got these off a late model Dodge Dakota. We're gonna make them look a lot better, and we're gonna use Duplicolor paint products to do that. Now, first things first, right here on this wheel, we're going to use the high performance wheel coating. This is a graphite color. It's going to make it look a little bit darker. I think it's going to look really good. Now also, it's going to actually protect from some of the road grime and the brake dust and things like that. It's going to help resist that. So not only is it going to look better, but it's also going to resist some of the crud on the road. Now over here to the caliper, you've got a couple different options as far as that goes. We've got ours off the vehicle, so we're going to use the aerosol can. It's going to be nice and easy, a nice gloss black. It's going to look great. However, if you didn't want to take it off the vehicle and you really want to just leave it on there to make things even easier, Duplicolor also has the brush on kit. It comes with everything that you need to get it nice and clean and paint it and make it look great. Now, what we have to do now is get these things up clean, then we can start making them look a lot better. The first thing we had to do was scuff this wheel up. That got rid of the gloss and it gave something for the paint to stick to. Then we hit it with the prep spray and got it all good and clean. Then we're ready to start applying the wheel coating. Now, given the nature of this particular wheel, there's a lot of angles and curves in there. You want to go with multiple thin coats. The wheel's done, we're going to set it off to the side and let it dry. Now it's time to give some attention to the caliper. The first thing we wanted to do was hit it with some good sandpaper and get rid of that surface rust. Then we coated it with the prep spray and got it good and clean. Now it's time to apply the paint. Anytime you're doing a caliper and it's off the vehicle like this, you can always hang it up on a wire. That makes it nice and easy. That way you can spin it around and make sure you can get all the little corners and angles. It just makes the job a lot easier. Now keep in mind, the reason that we went with a specific caliper paint is because it's heat resistant up to 500 degrees. Once the graphite wheel coating dried, we applied some clear wheel coating for some extra shine and some extra protection. This looks great, looks better than it did when it came from the factory. And speaking of looking good, take a look at the caliper right there. It looks brand new. Now that's how we handled our restoration challenge. For tips about how you can handle your restoration challenge, be sure to check out Duplicolor's website. Welcome back to TruckU. One of my favorite accessories that you can put on a side-by-side are these wheel spacers, and our buddies over at Rhino Parts and Performance have got a huge selection of these things.
Now what the deal is with these spacers is the whole idea is to try and make these UTVs a little safer by giving a wider stance, which means they're going to be a little more stable out on the trails. Because let's face it, they're high-powered vehicles and they're small and compact, and you know what? They are kind of accident-prone if people drive them over their heads, which a lot of people do.
Guilty? What?
So by giving them a wider stance, it's going to make it more stable, a little safer down the trails as well. And you know what? It's nice because they've got them for all different types of UTVs out there. They come in different sizes, from 1.5 inch thickness to 2 inches. They come with all the hardware you need, and they're easy to install.
These spacers are also adapters. You see, the Yamaha Rhinos actually have a lot more wheel and tire combinations available to them. That's just the way that it is. So if you've got a different kind of side-by-side, you can put in this adapter, which acts as the spacer, and that opens up all of those different wheel and tire combinations to you as well.
And you can get all these spacers and a bunch of other cool parts and accessories from the folks at Rhino Parts and Performance.
This is the high-lift jack mount from Fortrex. Now, Fortrex is a company that is all about allowing you to safely mount your gear inside your vehicle, whether you're going to mount it to a tube chassis or your roof racks or whatever. It's all about mounting it on there and doing it safely.
And securely. You know what? This is some great-looking stuff. I mean, look at it. It's all billet construction, and look at the machine work on this stuff. So it not only well-mounted, but it actually looks like a nice accessory to your vehicle as it is. It comes with stainless steel hardware. It can mount on any tube chassis from 1 inch up to 2 inches and 3/8. So pretty much any application can work for it. And you know what? You throw that fire extinguisher in the back of your truck. I've seen people do it on the trails. It bounces around and does more damage than good. With one of these mounting kits from Fortrex, you know, it'll be safe and secure and accessible when you need it to.
Yeah, you mentioned the fire extinguisher mount, which is what that is right there. You've got the high-lift jack mount, onboard cameras, gauge packs and clusters, whatever. If you need to mount it to your vehicle in any application in motorsports, Fortrex is going to help you do it. Whether you're tooling around in your garage at the house, or you've got a little 2 or 3 bay shop, or some big mega shop, you know how important it is to be able to keep it clean. And that's where this comes in. It's the Purple Power Industrial Cleaner and Degreaser from the guys at Aiken Chemical Company.
Now, we use this stuff all the time here in the shop, and it creates a barrier between the stain and the surface. It's something that we use on a daily basis, whether it's an oil leak or it's some grease on the ground.
Yeah.
It cleans it right up, and you don't have to have a big industrial-sized shop to use this stuff. A lot of people in their homes can use it with a 2-car attached garage just to keep it nice and clean. When you trap through dirt and grease through the garage going to the house, well, it's going to get inside your house as well. So it comes in an array of different sizes.
And on top of all that, it's a certified biodegradable product, so it's green and it's friendly for the earth. So that's really good. It's going to get you good and clean. That's what it's all about. The Purple Power Industrial Strength Cleaner and Degreaser from Aiken Chemical Company. If you ever make it out to some of these big truck 4x4 shows that I go to and put on some places around the country, you know that when you see certain parts on certain vehicles, these guys take it real serious. This SCS Quick Change Drop Transfer Case is one of those parts.
Now, what we're talking about in the drop transfer case is the drop from where the power goes in to where the power goes out to both of the drive shafts. And what we're trying to do is keep the right drive shaft angles. And in these big trucks, that's something critical. These cases from SCS come in different sizes and drop from about 12.5 inches all the way down to as much as 24 inches. And what we're talking about in terms of quick change, it's pretty cool because you can go ahead and change out the gears here in the back to tune these trucks to different track conditions.
Now, there's a lot of different options with these SCS cases as well. You can go from a 7.8 to 1 underdrive all the way up to a 1.4 to 1 overdrive. That's good. There's also a counter rotational option that you can have for rear engine applications. And another cool option is right here that you can get is this 2-wheel drive disconnect. This particular case has that. Bruno's spinning it right now. It's in 4-wheel drive. We shifted out, now it's in two-wheel drive.
That's
and
pretty
you're
cool.
rolling. And you know what, Bruno? I have actually got some big plans for this deal right here.
I see the wheels turning inside your head already. It's the quick change drop transfer case from SCS Gearbox Inc.
For more information on anything you've seen on today's show, check out speedtv.com or visit our website at truckutv.com.
You got that, Muscles?
As always.
If you need a hand, let me know.
Yeah, you'll be the one I'll call.
Hey, welcome back to TruckU. So we've got the Hercules TerraTrax on the truck. They look great. And you know what else is going to come along with this? Some peace of mind for the guy, knowing that he's got a brand new set of tires on this. Now, I talked about the all-terrain tire working under extreme conditions. A lot of that has to do with the siping that's up here in these tread lugs. The siping are these little tiny cuts. When you look at them, you think, that doesn't look like much. I don't know what that's going to do. It really does help add to the traction, especially under wet, snowy, and icy conditions.
Now, these tires, while they've got that, rugged off-road look to it is what we want, the reality is it's not going to be an off-road truck. For us, it's more about the nice, smooth ride. So this thing, you don't hear these lugs winding when going down the road. And that's what these tires are going to deliver. A nice, smooth, comfortable ride and a look we're looking for, because it's got the rugged look, it's got the raised letters, kind of goes with our whole theme here. If you wanted to, though, you could also get this tire with all blacked out sidewalls as well.
Yeah, it does. The Hercules TerraTrax really kind of complete the package of what we were going for out here today. So that does it for our Sierra, but I know there's some other guys working on their Sierras as well, like our buddy Matt. He wrote in to the website, went to the Ask the Host section, and wrote us a question. Hey guys, I've got a GMC Sierra 2500 gas option. I want to do an engine swap. I'm thinking about maybe doing a diesel. What do you suggest with that?
Wow, you're fighting an uphill battle, Matt, to tell you the honest truth. I mean, first of all, putting in a diesel engine in this truck might be a bit cumbersome to physically get it in the truck. If you're able to do that, you've got to look at things like the electronics, which we're going to fire this engine. I mean, let's face it, these trucks these days are pretty sophisticated. More often than not, a lot of times you have an electronic problem, you've got to bring it to a dealership or an authorized dealer who's got all the diagnostic tools to not only find the problem, but solve the problem. To run this thing, just to get the thing fired and running well, is going to be a really hard task unless you've got a serious background in working with one of these trucks.
Right, not to mention the fuel system that would have to be replaced and everything getting replumbed and all that too. So, like you said, not to sound condescending, but unless you've got a lot of money to spend and a lot of time, or you know exactly what you're doing, you may actually be better off just buying a diesel instead. It may be a cheaper way to do it. So.
Hey, speaking of this truck, though, the stuff we got from Coast to Coast International really helped dial it up and bring it some life. It didn't cost us a lot of money either, or spend a lot of time.
It did look real good, and this grill cover right here, you saw this a little bit earlier. It took us about 4 seconds to install it. Keep in mind, they've got these for other vehicles as well. They've got a full line of accessories for all types of different cars, trucks, and SUVs.
Well, that's all the time we got this week for TruckU. Catch you next time.
See ya.